Hello, everybody. This is Sudha Jamthe, and this is the IoT Show. We're starting a whole new series on IoT and AI. My latest new research on how to make devices not just smart, but how to make them intelligent. And so this is the first in the series, and we're going to talk about IoT messaging meeting EAI. And Toby Ruckert is going to join us. He has some audio problems, so he'll be joining us in the middle sometime soon. Meantime, I have Mounir here, and I would do a better job if he introduces himself. Hi, Mounir. Tell me a little bit, not just about your company and why you're here. I want to know your background of why you're creating this space and who you are.
Okay, sure. Hi. Thanks for having me on the show. Yeah, so I've always been interested in the future. You know, everything you see in the science fiction movies. Ever since I was a kid, when I got my first job as a paper boy, in my teenage years, I spent every dime I made to equip my bedroom with all these electronics.
Where are you from, and where are you dialing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm dialing in from Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
But I was born and raised in Oslo, Norway.
Oh.
So
Norway is when you did the paperboy route and learned about money.
Yes. Yes, you can say that. So, after coming to the United States, finished up college, got a couple of jobs, got laid off. I realized that it really is now or never if I really want to start something on my own. And since I did a few startups all around the idea of futuristic technologies, but really it was in 2005 when I started thinking about how do we get to this world where we're surrounded by these intelligent connected devices. And to me, it wasn't just about technology.
That's my dog. You have to keep talking. I'm just gonna go.
So to me, it wasn't just about technology. It was also about the economics around the future.
Hello.
So I call that future economics. So the research was really about how do we create the economic models that allows us to get to a future where we're surrounded by these connected devices, and how do we make these devices intelligent so that devices kind of operate on their own autonomously, kind of behind the scenes, and makes life a lot easier for us people. So that's really the journey of how I got into IoT, or as I call it, it's more into ambient intelligence.
I'm back.
Can I ask whether you can actually hear me?
Yes. Hi, Toby. I'm so glad you're here. We could hear you now. Yes, we can hear you.
Good. Okay.
So getting started with
Then
intro.
I'm glad to.
Yes. Can you tell us a little bit?
Good.
Can you tell us a little bit of who you are and what brought you to this space? Just your background. We're just getting started.
Sure. Sorry, I missed a couple of minutes. I've tried Hangouts many times, and it always fails me. I don't know why. So
I started, and he was just doing his intro, so you didn't miss much.
Okay, very good. And I know Mounir's intro already. Very good. So I studied music originally, and I bought my first modem in 1991. And I tried to connect the entire high school with modems, which was a bit early in 1994. And then I did some software testing in IBM, and so basically I was very interested in any ways that humans and machines could communicate with each other. That was really my origin point, and my interest in communication, in digital communication. And then just shortly at the beginning of 2000, I started an e-commerce company, and then 2010 Unified Inbox.
So which was
Unified Inbox is
sorry, Tony. Which was the e-commerce company you started in 2007?
At the beginning of 2000, actually, that's called the Viva Light. So we manufacture light bulbs that produce the full spectrum of the sun, or nearly the full spectrum, so people can see better indoors and read better. And we imported that from the US and sold it on the European market.
Wow. So it was not just e-commerce selling something, you actually made the bulbs.
Well, yes, partially. We bought the different suppliers, so we owned the supply chain, and then we gave it to a factory to produce it, and then we sold it online.
Wow. So you have been an entrepreneur, and you always have been interested in this machine interface.
Yes.
So how did that
pretty much. I mean,
messaging, how did you come to this whole messaging of, how machines should talk to each other? Like you call this the Internet of Communication, right?
Yes, actually what happened was that in the end of 2010, many different communication channels had emerged that our e-commerce business had to deal with. Many customers tried to reach us on link, keep on top of all this communication. So we said we build a unified inbox for ourselves. We registered the domain name just in case, you could do something else with it in the future, and we used it internally. And then last year, or really 2 years ago already, we realized that IoT will become a really big thing in the future, and that people have today already a problem staying on top of all their communication. And how will it be if in the future for every device that you control or that you manage or that's in your life, just like a person is in your life, you have to download an app for that? Or nobody will have a fully Samsung powered house. Some items will be from Google, some from Samsung, some from Bosch or Miele and so on. So it's going to be really hard to have one place and one app to manage your entire IoT devices from. That's when we said if we can use our existing technology to enable the user to be notified when something with their devices happens on their WhatsApp, on their email, on their SMS, or even in their social media accounts, that would be a great opportunity.
So that is why you call it the unified inbox, because it's across all possible means. It could be, I want to get notification from one device, which is kind of urgent if my, house is on fire. I want to be mildly notified if, my plant is hungry and needs water, right? I mean, and I wouldn't mind if that comes on email, but this has to come on a notification, or, another one comes into my WhatsApp, things like that. And you've created that platform for communication.
That's true. So actually, unified inbox stands for two things. Unified stands for the backend. So our backend is called Unification Engine. So with a single integration, you can access the entire Internet of Communication, so to speak, the different channels to send and receive messages in a unified protocol. And the front end part is something that we try to develop in an open source manner. We call it Open Inbox, and it's an initiative that we are just starting. It's not official yet at this point, and we want to get as many players on board to create a unified interface, so to speak, that can be used in different surfaces, on glass, on mirrors, in cars, on TVs, mobiles, etc., to have information in a central place, and then of course sorted according to the user's priorities.
Very cool. We had Ken Heron from your company come in and talk about social and IoT while back. So it was more the use cases of how devices should be talking to each other, or how they should be talking to us and humans. I want to go back to Mounir for a minute to just understand what his company offers, like what his latest research has come out with that is, I know it's in cognitive computing. It's a big field. And personally, I want to share one thing. I have a brand new book, which is, I'm going to be launching it officially only from Monday. So whoever is seeing this, hold on, I'm showing Mounir's face and showing my book here on a small screen. And people are like wondering what's going on. So it is called, my first book was IoT Disruption. So this is called IoT Disruptions 2020. And I'm focusing primarily on, I've been researching how, IoT devices are becoming smart, but what if they could become intelligent? What if we could, everybody I was talking to was saying machine learning, machine learning. So what if we could do machine learning and deep learning and the devices become really intelligent? So massive volume of data that they are looking at and looking at patterns, and what does this apply? What is the business use case for it across a wide spectrum of industry? So I'm actually releasing it as a very small limited edition for my Stanford students. It's going to be on Amazon, but it's not going to be available for everybody, because I'm going to have only limited editions available. So I've been very fascinated by the concept of machines becoming intelligent. So before we broadly use the, like, calling everything intelligent, the word AI and IoT has been kind of already misused, overused. So I want to understand, what do you offer when you say your company offers cognitive computing? What flavor
Sure.
of AI do you have? And then we will move forward from there.
Sure. So I think there's two things if we want to get into the super connected world. Kind of like what I mentioned, it's not just about the technology. I think what's more important than technology at this stage is the economics around it. What I've constantly heard from device manufacturers is the moment they create a connected device and they add a third-party operating system to it, it doesn't matter if it's Android or Windows or whatnot, they lose control of that device. I kind of joke and say,
they lose control of that? What do you mean by? Can you tell me a little bit over control of the device?
Sure. So
scary state in an AI conversation.
Sure. So I'm just gonna kind of use Google as an example here. So you put Android on a device. The device leaves the retail store and it keeps generating money, but very little of that money goes back to the device manufacturer. In some cases, none goes back to the device manufacturer. Okay. It's companies in the middle who don't actually produce anything consumable. They're just aggregating, apps, social information, and other content and services. They're the one who control the device, and they're the one who's actually making a profit of a device that was manufactured by a certain company. And that has made it a little difficult for traditionally non-connected device manufacturers to start adding connectivity to their devices. It's an expense to add connectivity, and if there is no ROI on it, why would they do it? And the reason why the world works like that is because devices have absolutely no clue what you want. So the app stores make it easy to discover apps. The social networks make it easy to discover, pictures and status updates of your friends, and so forth. eBay, Amazon makes it easy to discover sellers. But at the end of the day, it's because our devices don't know what we want. So what we're saying is, if we want to get to, I think we can get to the next 50 billion connected devices with the existing models that's around today. But how do you get beyond that? How do you get to the future where every fork, every pair of socks, everything is connected? We're talking about hundreds of billions of connected devices, maybe even what IBM predicted, trillions of connected devices. And for that to work, I think we have to change the economics. And I think we know devices generate several $1 trillion a year in revenue. And what we believe is that if that revenue that's being generated goes back to the people who actually made the device, the critical part of the supply chain, and you remove the middlemen who are controlling that revenue, you basically get to a point where if you produce a connected device and it goes out in the real world and it actually brings value, you keep making money. Mm-hmm. And I think a model like that will actually drive, will help us to get to the connected future much, much faster.
So help me understand this. So you're basically saying, like the connected socks. Sensoria makes connected socks. I wear the socks, I run. Currently they are not connected to anything else. They have their own app, and it tells me how well am I running, is my gait fine, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And there is, Colibri, the toothbrush, or Oral-B, they have their smart toothbrush, and they have their own app, and it tells me how well I'm brushing. So mm-hmm. They're all silos of many devices with their own app interface and notifications communicating with the same user again and again. So
yes. So now you're getting into the second problem.
They are getting value. They are getting the value because as long as I download n number of apps, which I'm going to get app fatigue very soon on this, right?
Yeah.
So where does your technology come in, and where is the cognitive computing piece in there?
Yeah. So now you're getting into the second problem. So if we could if we can make devices intelligent so that they can go out, they can find the content, apps, and services that the consumer needs automatically, then the money can go back to the device manufacturer, and we can hopefully get to the connected world. What you're talking about is basically user experience. So I have a phone, has an app store. I have a smartwatch that has its own app store. I use, Chrome browser, which has its own app store. you know, I can handle 3 different app stores. I can't handle 1,000 different app stores from 1,000 different devices. So when we talk about cognitive computing, what I want is I want my phone to understand that I am at the restaurant to meet some clients. I want my phone to automatically find the restaurant application, personalize the menu. I want my phone to automatically rewrite that restaurant app to also show me the bios of the 2 clients I'm meeting. And
Rewrite
I want
the restaurant app.
Huh?
Rewrite the restaurant app. Did I hear that right?
Yes, you heard that right. And I want my phone to tell me that one guy is running 10 minutes late.
Okay.
And so I want my.
What does the rewrite the restaurant app mean? I mean.
Well, it's you know, the technically correct term is being able to allow disparate apps to share code.
Yes.
And collaborate.
That's what I was guessing. So you're literally saying there would be various versions of the restaurant app, and your system would intelligently call that piece of code that will customize it for my experience. That's
no. What I'm saying is, yeah. So the use case I just mentioned is actually up and running. It works. What I'm saying is, when we get to this future of the super connected future, I think we have to rethink how we develop use cases. Right today, when we think about use cases, we're thinking about an end-to-end service.
Yeah.
Thinking about everything that we can supply to an end user. I don't think that works in the future, and that's what we want our AI to do. Is to we want developers to build building blocks. You know, shopping list application, a restaurant application, alarm clock, all these little building blocks that the AI can then go in and say, well, I believe the user needs X, and to serve the user, let's put all these little building blocks together and create a unique user experience for that one user in a one situation and deliver it to that user. So that would be different apps developed by different developers coming together, sharing code and content and resources to create a unique experience.
So this is where Toby comes in, because now you've got this intelligent layer, but your apps are going to communicate with each other. Is that where the partnership came in? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yes, Mounir, if you don't mind, I take that. Actually, yesterday I was at a company, one of the world's largest appliance manufacturers. They produce all sorts of kitchenware and especially ovens, washing machines, dishwashers, and so on. And they're really far ahead in their R&D department. What they want, you can talk to the oven and you can say, "Hey, I want to make fish," just for the sake of example. And it already sets you know, everything, the menu in the program to how a fish should be made, right? You just add the fish in, and you know, it takes care of the rest. So, and when it's finished, you don't need to download an app. With our integration, you could then get a WhatsApp notification or you know, SMS or whatever you want on whatever channel you are basically on, that your food is ready and you can remove it from the oven. Just one simple example. Or if your dishwasher, your washing machine is ready, you can receive the trigger notification that the washing cycle is over on the channel that you're on. That would be our integration directly with the appliance manufacturer. We would not need Kimera systems for that. But that is a pretty dumb integration. It just does something if something happens, and it has to pre-program. So the difference with the AI is this. I mean, I give you an example. Right now, I either have to download an app to tell a device or a thing what it should do. So all the different triggers are pre-programmed. For us to be able to intelligently execute notifications based on the user's profile, what the user wants, that's one part where the AI comes in, because we don't know, we cannot learn from the user's behavior. The AI can. And reversing this whole setup, if the user wants to communicate with the device, that's where I see long-term the biggest value, actually. Not just the voice recognition and then
Hold on 1 second. So one part is you're personalizing that experience, but you're actually learning what is the user's behavior from their data, from their usage pattern. So that is
exactly. Imagine you have 1,000 devices. Not all the alerts are equally important. I mean, if a fire alarm may be more important, or that somebody opened your safe may be more important than your dishwasher has finished washing, just for the sake of example. So there are and with the thousands of devices that we are connected, or sensors and things that we are connected to in the future, maybe also an air filter in the room, or the place that we work in, and so on. So there are things, when the CO2 level, for example, reaches a certain number, then only we get notified. So there needs to be some kind of intelligence behind all of this. And any big technology has always another technology that rides on top of it. To me, IoT is only a fundamental requirement for AI to really take off. Because once everything is, it's a bit like, how would you do e-commerce without internet? You can't. How would you do social media without smartphones? So you always have these links between things. And IoT and artificial intelligence is a bit like this. IoT is a basic fundamental for AI to really showcase its brilliance. And I think some good examples would be if I can text. I mean, I'm driving home, and I can text, or I can tell to my AI, hey, I'm going to go in the sauna, please turn it on. I want to do that natively. I don't want to open an app. I don't want to, select a specific button. I just want to, and I may say that today differently than I say tomorrow. But the beautiful thing about Nigel is it actually understands what I want. Maybe every Tuesday night, I have sauna, just for the sake of example, right? And I drive home, and Nigel could at that point actually proactively ask me, hey, shall I turn on the sauna for you? Right, Mounir, just as an example, because it learns from that behavior. It understands in no matter which channel I talk to it, that's our capability, and it learns from that behavior, and most importantly, it keeps it private. Mounir, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's some use case.
That's correct. I did wanted to kind of jump in really quick because I haven't introduced Nigel. So you referred to Nigel a couple of times.
Oh, sorry about that.
Nigel is the name of our artificial intelligence technology.
I was trying to guess that.
But I also wanted to.
I'm sorry about that.
I also wanted to add one more thing. So I think what Toby was talking about was removing technology from our lives, letting technology just become so intelligent that we're not operating our devices. And for that to truly happen, we're going to have to give AI a little bit more freedom. As an example, if you say, add, I'm out of milk, add milk to my shopping list. But the AI understands that my spouse is about to go past a grocery store. I should have the freedom to say, you know what, I'm not going to add it to the shopping list. I'm just going to, interrupt my spouse and have her stop at the grocery store and get the milk. So, and I think that's kind of what we're proud of with our AI is we built what we believe is the first AI that can comprehend what's going on, comprehend why did you say I'm out of milk, and then figure out what is the best solution to help you solve that problem or achieve whatever goal that is attached with what you said. So that type of comprehension would allow the Nigel in this case to say, I'm not going to add it to your shopping list. I'm instead going to interrupt your wife, who's 2 minutes away from the grocery store, and see if she can stop by and pick up that milk. And so, yeah, finding that the right communication channel is something that Unified Inbox brings to this whole system.
And of course, the one integration to all channels, so that you don't have to deal with all individually. I think, Mounir, how we met in the beginning, maybe I add that as well, is we both follow one dream, and that is the concept of life modes. And I think you came to the concept of life modes from an AI perspective. I came to the concept of life modes from a connectivity perspective. And we both realized at some point, only by bringing those two together we can actually achieve that. And what does life modes actually mean? And this is certainly an ultimate goal. Is I don't know whether you know the 80s series of Matlock. You have the lawyer who is conducting his final speech and trying to defend his very guilty looking client. And of course, there's nothing that should interrupt the lawyer at this point in time, except that one piece of information and evidence that would break his client free and allow him to accomplish his task. So the thing is, if that should happen, all communication channels need to be united, because we don't know in which way that piece of evidence is going to reach the lawyer. But at the same time, the presence of the lawyer needs to be totally focused. He cannot be interrupted. There's also the term attention economy. So in order to pursue his task and complete it successfully, he cannot be interrupted with every little communication coming in. So that's where the AI comes in. And that is not just big data analytics. It needs to know so much and really be self-thinking, to the point where at some point it has to be self-aware to decide whether it interrupts the final speech or not. And that's a really critical and hard task to do, because we deal with so many aspects of compliance. We are in a courtroom, we have human beings and lives, and life in prison or not at stake. So I picked this purposefully as an example, but that's the common vision ultimately of life mode.
Interesting, Tony. Toby, it's interesting today, because usually, when I do my show, I just shut everything off and say I should not be interrupted. And I know there are other things, important things that could interrupt me. I didn't stage it. I did say that, I would walk in and out like a Harry Potter portrait out of the show. I didn't stage it, but I got interrupted today at least 2 times. Obviously, one of them definitely important enough that it made me get up and I had to go, but the other one was not. So I can't wait to use this system as a consumer. But I'm curious, is this limited to me as a consumer? Is there an enterprise play in here?
At least from no, I think when we talk about when we were developing Nigel, what we were aiming at.
I just love the name.
Nigel was. Quick story about Nigel. When Kimera System was 2 people, it was me and a person named Nigel who just left Gartner, and we had the same vision. We were doing some research to see if we can actually build something. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2013, and we named the AI after him.
Oh.
So that's where the name comes from. But when we think about AI, ambient intelligence, that's kind of what we call it, which I think is the next step after Internet of Things. It's not just consumer; it's people, and it doesn't matter if it's people in the context of their personal life or in their business life. It's really about how can devices, the devices you're surrounded with, how can they work in the background, understand what's going on, understand what you need, and proactively assist you. And proactively assist you could just mean.
I just read yesterday, there was this thing from Stanford that there were this tiny robot who just, bunch of them joined together and they could actually pull a car. So they're like, 100 grams or something. They're that tiny, but all put together, they could actually pull a car by 6 inches or something. So that means, and it was using AI that they, synchronized their steps and learned what was the right way to do it, right? Like a mini combined caterpillar. So I'm just curious, can this be applied to automotive? Can this be applied to industry? And maybe they can do heavy lifting of, lot of different devices combined together, can run a factory,
Yes, so that's I think that's the from architectural perspective. How I look at real intelligence is, when a human being walks towards a door, it's our brain that says, if I'm going to get to the other side of the door, we have to open up the door. But it's not our brain that jumps out of our head and actually goes and physically opens the door. What our brain does is to instruct our legs to slow down, instruct our arm to go up and turn the door handle and open up the door. And so I don't think that the most effective AI is a platform where you build in all these little use cases. What I think the most effective AI does is to instruct all the available resources on the global network on how to behave, so that from a human perspective, it looks like all of these disparate apps, content, services, devices are collaborating, and they're working together as a team to do something for you as a human.
We are actually close to the end of our show, so I just have a minute to wrap up. But looks like I'll have to bring you back, because now you're telling me something that this is not machine learning. It's deeper than that, right? So you're not giving any rules. You're just
No, I think that's a good point that you raised. Yes. Beyond, it's like, many it's like learning a language. If you learn 10 words, you cannot speak the language. And if you don't know how to put them together, you don't complete a complete sentence. There is no meaning. But if you have these different modules by a separate intelligence, putting it together to achieve an outcome, a sentence, I want this, or that is my question. At that point in time, you have some self-thinking awareness.
Beautiful.
But yeah, you're right. This is machine learning is obviously a part of it. This is based on 10 years of research in artificial intelligence, and we believe we built the first AI that actually comprehends the world, actually can predict based on human level intelligence what to do. And it's not done with deep learning. I don't believe deep learning can get you there.
Wow.
But yeah, this goes beyond machine learning. This is about real intelligence, truly comprehend what's going on.
This is fantastic. That's all the time we have for today, and I'm sure I'm going to see you guys back. It's like, in all the sci-fi movies which talk about, robots in any form, there is always a part 2. So I'm going to have both of you back.
Yes, once our use case is live, we should look at that. That would be great.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
So with that, I'm going to wrap
Thank you.